What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And yeah, it's a quiet week for Arsenal at the moment, man. No game midweek. You know, watching the Champions League last night, you're thinking that could have been Arsenal against Real Madrid Champions League semi-final. But hey, it is what it is. Can we get the Premier League trophy? I don't know. We have got Bournemouth this week. Should be a game that we should win, but, you know, we can't take it for granted. Bournemouth are in good form. And, of course, last season, man, it was Reece Nelson with the goal, you know, to get us over the line. But today we're going to be talking transfers and contract extensions. Obviously, as you get to the end of the season, it kind of becomes that time where, you know, you've got players' contracts running out and you're looking to sign new players and things like that. So we're going to talk about that today. Big up to everyone locked in. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, man, that Tottenham game seems like a long time ago now. And I think the general feeling now that game has finished is just, will Man City drop points anywhere? Because ultimately we can win our last three. It might not be enough. Who will take points off Man City? Will anybody take points off Man City? But yeah, we dealt with Tottenham and you know, they're a bit of a mess at the moment. But we need to focus on ourselves, really. A lot of you talk about Kendrick in the comments. Kendrick with that euphoria, you know, going back. It was better. Yeah, it was better. It was better than the first one. But as I say, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old man, man. I'm still on them old school diss tracks where you're ripping people's head off, man. But it was better. It was better, I can't lie. It was better than the first one. Let's see what Drake comes back with. But to me, this is like a pillow fight, you know? It's like having a pillow fight, you know? And I don't want to encourage violence in hip-hop, of course. But it's still light work, man. It's light work. It's light work. Tell them to say how it is. It was whack. I mean, like I say, in the modern generation, people are hyped for it. I get it. It's Kendrick and Drake, but it still ain't. It still ain't what I grew up listening to when it came to a hip hop diss. But you know, it's maybe, you know, it's just lyrical beef, innit? You know, it's different. So maybe I just got to move with the times and understand what it is. This is more like corned beef. This ain't real beef. This is that corned beef you used to get in a can. Corned beef and rice, an elite meal growing up. No disrespect to the corned beef lovers either, people. But yeah, man, big up to everyone locked in. Right, we got a few things to talk about today. And I'm going to need some opinions from you people because we got discussion. We've got discussion that we need to have. And Arsenal are handing out contracts left, right, and centre at the moment. Before we do get into the contract and the players, I want to show you the leak of next season's away kit. Now, obviously, this isn't official from Adidas. It isn't official. It isn't official from Arsenal. This is the leak of the away kit. We did see the home kit the other day, which was sort of, it had blue down the sides. It looked like a copy and paste of an Ajax kit. Look at this kit. I mean, where are they getting the inspiration from? Is this looks like the Lynx Africa set that you get for Christmas. I don't know what are these little bits here. And you know Arsenal, they just slap a pattern on a shirt. And they'll say, oh, these zigzags represent the River Thames and this is the road that leads to Arsenal Stadium, and these waves here are... They'll make up some kind of mad excuse. I don't know what's going on. Green and red, like... It looks like a goalkeeper kit. It really does. I mean, I don't know. That is Lynx Africa set kit, that. That is definitely a Christmas kit. It has. It's got something to do with Ian Wright and Rocastle. I'm not sure actually what it is. But it's got something to do with them. I don't know. People, let me know in the comments. I know it did. Yeah, it's a link to Righty and Rocky. I don't know why. Is it the green and red? I don't know. Let me know. What is the connection? I don't get it. What do you guys think of this kit? Oh man, I'm with you, Ant, bro. I mean, when I saw this kit, I was like, you know what? Get me back to the night kits, man. Like, I don't know. I want the night kits back. Does anyone know what the representation is of well, I thought it was Jamaica colours, you know, green and red, but they ain't got the third colour, you know. But what do you guys think? Looks like a training kit. It does look to me like a goalkeeper kit. People saying, read the lyrics, what Kendrick's saying. No, listen, I heard what he said. I don't actually think the record is that good. But what he's saying, yeah, he's firing off shots. I can't lie. He's firing off shots. It's a link to right, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the link is, but yeah, apparently it's some sort of link to them. Looks like a kitchen towel. Will you be buying this, people? Will you be buying this if it looks like that? The thing is, the last black kit that they brought out was absolutely elite. It was their highest selling away kit, I think, in Arsenal history. This one, I mean, I just think these patterns here are totally unnecessary. Take them off. You know, if you're going to go, you know, take them bits off. But hey, it is what it is. If we win the league, I'll be all over it. It's as simple as that. Curtis will buy. Listen, if we win the league, mate, I'll be turning up looking like Ty on it. Trust me, hat, headphones, everything. Our best jerseys were Nike. Why do Bayern always get the bad boy Adidas kits? I mean, Adidas are a German company. They probably put more time and effort into the Bayern Munich kit. Arsenal, it looks like we get copy and paste. People saying AI generated kits. It's Jamaica green and Trinidad and Tobago red one. Ian Wright and Rocastle. Is that the story behind it? Well, we'll run with it, man. Corn Beef TV, exactly. Corn Beef TV, people. Anyway, there's the new kit. The home kit we did show the other week. That one looks very much like an Ajax kit, so we will talk when they release them. Arsenal's new home kit is actually getting released this month. By the way, happy May Day. Can you believe how fast this year is going, by the way? It's the 1st of May. This week is flying. John said Rocastle was Dominican. Okay, so we don't know, but it is a link to Rocky and Ian Wright. We're in May already, final month of the season, and the new kit comes out for the final home game of the season, which is obviously Everton at home, which is interesting because, you know, imagine new kit to win the title. Would be crazy, but yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. Obviously, we're going to need somebody to take points off Man City. Right, let's talk contracts. Let me just quickly read out these super chats. Tammy says, Kendrick killed Let's Be Real, not AI. And Alfred said, Kendrick race gatekeeping, calling Drake white when Kendrick Dion is biracial is wild. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know. I don't know anymore with hip-hop. And Arsenal Forever Gothenburg has become a member. Big up yourself, bro. Big up yourself. And we're doing a member stream today, by the way, if you want to get involved, 4 o'clock. I'll put the link on the community page shortly before, so get involved. We'll talk about the upcoming fixtures, transfers you want to see in the summer, Arteta, and so on and so forth. Right. Somebody who looks like they will be here next season is Jorginho. Jorginho. Now, I need opinions. And I'll give you my opinion. David Ornstein tweeted, exclusive. Arsenal have offered Jorginho a new contract, and the midfielder is expected to sign it. The existing terms run until June of this year, with the option of another year, but fresh deal rewards the 32-year-old's importance to Arsenal. Also, Edu and Ato went to Saudi Arabia. No players discussed. Jason Ato, I believe it is, he's the assistant to Edu. They flew to Saudi Arabia, met up with some of the people who run the Saudi league, and obviously they're saying they weren't discussing players, but do you believe that? No, I don't either. Obviously, it's good to make connections with the richest owners and richest league. How do I feel about Jorginho getting a new contract at Arsenal? I'm going to be honest, right? I'm a little bit 50-50 with it. On one hand, I'm like, okay, if he replaces El Neni as fourth choice centre midfielder, it's not the end of the world. However, I don't think Arteta will treat him like that because I think Arteta really likes him. He could have easily just taken the option to extend the contract. What he's actually done is give him new terms, and apparently the new deal is a 1-year contract with another 1-year option, which means this time next year we're in the same situation. Do we extend his contract again? My thing is this. If I'm being totally honest, right? And I like to be completely honest when I speak to the community. I would have probably let him go. I'm going to be honest. I would have probably let him go. Respectfully. People have to understand that getting rid of a player does not mean you don't rate them or don't respect them. You can let somebody go in a respectful manner. I think Jorginho has served his purpose at Arsenal. 18 months ago, Chelsea deemed him surplus to requirements. Right? In the January of 2023, oh, apologies, nearly threw me out there. 18 months later, I almost feel like he's served his purpose here. He's come in, he's been a decent squad player. You've played a lot more football than you probably should have this season. But obviously with Partey's situation, do you know what? Let's simplify it. We'll put a poll up. I want to see what the community says. And I get it. There are a lot of you in the comments saying, listen, as a squad player, he replaces El Neni. He is a good character in the dressing room. And I do hear all that. But I'm also looking at it on the flip side as he turns 33 this year. Is he getting better? Not really. Does he make the Manchester City squad? No, I don't think he does. They've got Kovacic on the bench. I just don't know. I don't know if this sends out the right message. Thoughts on Jorginho, new deal. Happy to keep him or should have let him go? I want to know your opinions. I'm going to read your comments. The poll's there, but I'm looking for your comments. Don't get me wrong. I say this with respect. Jorginho has done all right this season, right? Jorginho has done all right. I'm not sitting here saying he's a bad player. He's far better than El Neni. He's obviously an important figure in the dressing room. I just think a unique part of football is to know when to let a player go. I think Pep's the best at that. Sometimes Pep's let players go where I've said, boy, I think you should have kept him for another year or two when I see Mahrez and Gundogan and, players like that leaving. So I don't know. I would have liked to have seen Declan Rice, Thomas Partey, and 2 new centre midfielders. I don't see Jorginho pushing the club forward next season. He's got a good attitude. He's got experience. And Arteta clearly likes him. I just think you're a better version of El Neni in the sense that, you train well. I just don't know. And people will say, look, as fourth choice, I get that, but will he be the fourth choice? Now, the other side of this argument that we're going to have as well is when I've read this full report from David Ornstein in The Athletic, he's saying in the report that it's not clear yet what is going to happen with Thomas Partey, right? Now, I get the situation with Thomas Partey. He's missed too many games this season. People have to remember Thomas Partey played 33 games last season in the Premier League. So the injury thing that we throw at Thomas Partey was not an issue last season. It has been a big issue this season, of course. So there is a genuine possibility Arsenal could let Thomas Partey go and keep Jorginho. Now, I just don't know if that sits right with me. And I know Jorginho has been available a lot more than Thomas Partey. So I kind of do understand that as well. But letting Partey go on the cheap and keeping Jorginho, that just doesn't sit right with me. I think you either get rid of both of them, or I don't think you keep Jorginho ahead of Thomas Partey. Partey, I know, doesn't play enough football this season. So I understand the argument that people will say Partey has not been available enough. But I think you could use Partey as a squad player next season and let him just run down his contract. But listen, I want to know your opinions. Give me your opinions. Some people don't agree. Some people say, listen, Jorginho is a good squad player. I view squad players differently. I look at a squad player and I think, if we were forced to play you for 3/4 of the season, would we win the title with you in the team? Because it's very dangerous to go, okay, I've got that player, but I've got this guy who's a squad player. We could easily go and sign a new centre midfielder next season. He gets injured for a long time, like Timber, and all of a sudden Jorginho's playing. Now, my question to the community would be, if Jorginho played 30 league games next season, next to Declan Rice in midfield, would Arsenal win the Premier League next season? If that situation occurred. And I think the answer would be no. I think the answer would be no. And that's my concern. If he's fourth choice and you're just what El Neni is, and you play 4 games, 5, 10 games next season, it's not the end of the world. But I don't think Jorginho will play 5 or 6 games next season. I think this manager loves Jorginho. I think Jorginho will play 20 plus games next season. I think he'll play 20 plus games next season because the manager loves him. And I don't think he would sign the contract if there wasn't a promise of football. They're saying that he was linked with Lazio. He is better than El Neni, of course he is. But just something about it says to me, we're being nice again. When I would have liked us to have been ruthless and said, okay, 18 months ago, Chelsea said you weren't good enough. You've come here for 12 million. You've done well for 18 months. You're 33 this year. Now we'll probably let you go. Now we'll probably let you go. I don't know. I'm going to read your comments. Somebody just said there, Kovacic at Man City. Would they win the league with Kovacic? I mean, Kovacic has played 26 games this season. And they win the league if they win their next few games. So, hang on. I've got a delivery at the door. Give me 1 second. And it's not much. It wasn't merch, I promise. Amazon delivery. I was going to leave it. The guy's banging down the door like he's the police. But yeah, man. Let's see what you guys are saying. What do you guys think? Ray and Nephew's at the door. I might need it. Selective ruthlessness. I agree with that, Cello. I've said that a lot. Ruthless, but not with everyone. Guna Carlos, due to FFP, what if Arsenal sees Jorginho as a third choice alternative so they can spend the money on a proper striker, Guimaraes and a right winger? I mean, that's the other side of the argument, and I'll give Arsenal this side. Arsenal will need a new goalkeeper this summer because Ramsdale will leave. So we'll need a second choice goalkeeper. We've also got to complete the David Raya transfer. We still owe 27 million. That clause has been triggered because of how many games he's played and so on and so forth. So effectively, we're going to sign 2 goalkeepers this summer. Because we'll complete Raya and we'll sign a second choice goalkeeper when Ramsdale leaves. I think we'll sign a left back because I think Tierney will go, and I think we'll try and get a left back if we can. Timber maybe could play there. I think we'd possibly be looking at a centre back because really Gabriel and Saliba have got through the whole season without being injured. That's very risky. And then on top of that, we're going to need a centre mid, a striker, and probably a right winger. So maybe Arsenal are just looking at it saying it's not realistic to let Jorginho and Partey go as well as El Neni and have to sign 2 centre mids as well as a striker, a right winger, maybe 2 defenders and 2 keepers. So maybe from a financial point of view, they can't do it. And if that is the case, then I fall back and I understand. I mean, Kisma says, look at Real Madrid, Toni Kroos and Mudryk. One is 38, one is 36. I think we need to keep them both. Sign another younger midfielder, let him learn from those two. I mean, the only thing I would say with that, when you're using that argument, right, is Toni Kroos and Luka Modric are absolute world-class legends of football. Jorginho isn't on the level of Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. You see the ball that Toni Kroos played to Vinny last night. He's still unbelievable. And they've got their younger midfielders with Camavinga and Tchouaméni and stuff like that. So, listen. If they're in a financial predicament where it's like, listen, maybe we'd have let Jorginho go, but we can't sign 2 centre mids as well as a striker, a right winger, a couple defenders and a couple keepers, then I'll fall back if that's the case. I'll fall back, but I expect to see big business done. And I'll be honest, I'll be disappointed if Jorginho stays and Partey goes. I think with Partey, you just let him run down his contract, unless the Saudis come with huge money. So we'll see. We'll see with that one. Salman said it's not financial. They just don't have creative minds. Creative financing courses would improve the club. If that was the case, I would tell Arsenal to prepare better. You've had a whole year to prepare for the transfer market. Yeah. And the other thing as well, you look at, listen, I think he's had a good season for what I expected of him. But I just look at, like, you know, when we played Man City away, he struggled. When we played Bayern Munich away, he struggled. He couldn't cope with Musiala. Now, Musiala's an outstanding player, so I'm not saying that, you know, that's a benchmark to write him off. What I'm saying is, on the ball, yeah, Jorginho is a solid player. He's always been a good player on the ball. The reason that Chelsea got rid of this guy 18 months ago is because without N'Golo Kante doing his running next to him at Chelsea, he struggled. He gets exposed defensively against, you know, players that can move quickly. I just think keeping him till he's 33, I don't know, maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe I've got it wrong. I personally would have moved him on, respectfully. I would have shook his hand and said, listen, you've come here for 18 months, you've done well, you've helped the dressing room, 12 million quid. Go back to Syria or go to Saudi and get paid. You're nearly 33. I'm not really looking at him and thinking, you know what, Jorginho's going to carry us forward next season. I think it would have been a good time to have just let him go and freshened up the midfield, bring in a couple of midfielders, maybe even promote someone. You know, when are we going to see a HLM player come through? So that's my opinion. But listen, you're all entitled to your opinion. The poll is up. Let me know what you think. Guna Carlos said, simple, bench upgrade to El Neni with a new midfielder coming in. And that's what I think will happen. That's what I think will happen. If they keep El Neni, I'll be having an absolute meltdown of all meltdowns, by the way. Flammable said, Partey has to stay. He's a difference maker. Lifts us up a level. Take the risk on him, 100%. Bring him Fofana, Manu Kone, and promote Ethan. That's a lot of energy. Luca said, hi Curtis, keep up the amazing work. I was wondering if you'd like to do a collab. Sent you a DM on email. Thoughts on G.Jesus. Keep up the amazing content. I'll check my emails, bro. Big up. I'll get back to you on that. We'll speak about G.Jesus. That's my next story. Hold fire on that one. Xavi Simons is the answer. Brilliant player. I would love Arsenal to sign him. You know, but we'll see. Thing is, everybody in the team really respects him for his talent. It seems he might help the midfield. Yeah. Listen, ultimately, you do need characters in the dressing room. And you do need experience. I'm not sitting here saying that his experience can't be valuable. You also got to be an asset on the pitch. As I said, if Jorginho is fourth choice next season, I don't have a major problem with that. If you're the next midfielder, the backup midfielder, then I'm sorry, I think it's a mistake. I would have let him go. You know, and yeah, you can have experienced players. Chelsea had Thiago Silva. Liverpool had James Milner. But these guys, especially Milner, you know, he didn't play as often as Jorginho has played for us this season. So, you know, does that deal put like fear into Pep Guardiola? Oh no, they've give Jorginho another deal. I don't think it does, but maybe I'm exaggerating it. Let me know what you guys think. Fitz, he said, this shows that Arsenal continue with the mantra, we're always one or two players short, rinse and repeat, keep Arteta in a job for life. With our fans more than happy with just competing. I hope you're not on Twitter, Fitz. You say that on Twitter, they'll go crazy. You should see the responses I get. I'm with you, Fitz. I'm with you. I'm completely with your opinion there. Odeon said, yes, Fitz. Jay said, we need to level up. Yeah, there's nearly 2,000 of you in the chat already. Aaron said, our transfers will be based around homegrown. We have 8. Ramsdale, White, Saliba. Saliba surely not classed as homegrown, although is it because we signed him as a teenager? They have that rule, don't they? Saka, Martinelli, Nelson, and Nketiah and Rice. That's why the Rashford links are legitimate. I've said that Arsenal, in my opinion, and I could be totally wrong with this, I think Arsenal will try and sign an English player this summer, or a homegrown player. Like you say, they don't have to be English if they've been developed through the system over here. Because if you look at Nketiah, Ramsdale, Nelson, Smith Rowe, they're all players that I think could be available this summer. So, you know, will they go and get an English player? Ivan Toney, Marcus Rashford. You know, these are players that have been linked. So we'll see. We'll see. Let me see what you guys are saying on the poll. Jorginho, are you happy with him staying? Do you not have a problem with it? 56% of you are happy to keep him. 44% say we should have let him go. And yeah, for me, I am in that 44%. I would have let him go. Gibbs White is another player, yeah, that's been linked as well. So yeah, Jorginho will sign a new deal, and it will be a new 1-year contract with an option to extend. So he turns 33 this year, and you know, it's not a meltdown him getting a new contract, but I'm not celebrating it. I'm not particularly happy that Jorginho got a new 1-year contract. For me, I would have shook his hand and said thanks a lot. Now go and play for someone else. But maybe that's why I'm in the minority online, people. You know, I see a lot of big accounts online. Oh, this is such smart business, you know. So maybe I'm seeing it wrong. But for me, 18 months, 33 this year, I think I would have said thanks on your bike. Anyway, let's move on. We'll talk about someone else. Melbourne said the brother is weak and can't run or shoot. Oh, dear. Anyway, let's move on. Jorginho discussion. If you're watching this on playback after, get in the comments. Let me know what you think. Jorginho's new contract. Are you happy with it or not? A player that could be on his way out of Arsenal this summer is Gabriel Jesus. The Athletic reporting that Gabriel Jesus, Arsenal are willing to listen to offers for Gabriel Jesus this summer. The club now feel, I've got some notes here from the article that I've written. Arsenal feel with the upturn in Havertz's form as a striker, the amount of money that Jesus is paid a week, plus the issues with his knee, that the club would be willing to move him on if they got a suitable offer. Jesus has 3 years left on his contract, and the club will not sell him unless they get an offer that meets their requirements. Now, how much... By the way, I just want to say on this one, I have no problem selling Gabriel Jesus. Right, let me say this. And this one for me is not a get rid of him and I'm happy about it. It's a damn, what could have been. It's one of them for me. Jesus leaves with a bit of, you know, regret in my opinion, because when we signed Jesus, I thought we could have changed him from a 10, 12 goals a season striker to a 15 to 20 goal a season striker. he hasn't been able to hit the back of the net enough. He's had a serious knee injury, 2 operations. And for me, I personally have no problem with letting Jesus go. Also, though, I have no problem if he stayed for a year as a backup player. Because I think having Jesus on the bench is decent squad depth. I think that's a good player to bring off the bench. Somebody just said there he's worse than Lacazette and Aubameyang. I mean, he's nowhere near Aubameyang's level. Lacazette won Player of the Season 1 year. Jesus hasn't. So ultimately, he hasn't even been as successful as Lacazette. But let me just tell you one thing, and this is what I always say with Arsenal. Everything seems to be bittersweet. They give something and they take something away. Jesus can go, no problem. You bring in a new striker. You've got Havertz, who's done very well up front, and you've got Trossard, who can play up front. You can probably run with that. Don't try and keep Eddie Nketiah on the sly. Eddie's got to go with him. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't get rid of Jesus and Eddie Nketiah somehow stays because he's homegrown and we need so much. Nah, Eddie Nketiah should have already packed his suitcase. Yeah, they go together. Like, this is a package. You know, you go McDonald's, you order the burger, you need the fries. You get Jesus, so in the Happy Meal, you get the toy. Eddie, don't think you can just stay quiet in the background. You're going as well, bro. Eddie has to leave. I don't want to see a situation where Jesus is sold and somehow Eddie Nketiah is sitting on the Arsenal bench. Eddie has to go as well. Yeah, and that I have to make that abundantly clear. Jared Bowen, another English player that we could go for. Eddie has to go as well. Listen, with Jesus, the thing I want to ask you, I think I can see from your comments, I think nearly everybody would allow Jesus to go. He's on massive wages. And it just hasn't been good enough. 26 Premier League games last year, 11 goals, 6 assists. Missed 12 games for injury. And then this year, he's missed 11 games through injury. So that's 23 games missed in 2 seasons. He's got 4 goals, 4 assists. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful because I like Gabriel Jesus. I actually think he's a very talented footballer. Gabriel Magalhães has got 4 goals this season. Gabriel Jesus has also got 4 goals. Our centre-back's got the same amount of goals as the guy that came in to be our top striker. For me, I was asked a few weeks ago, what would you do with Jesus next season? I said, put him on the bench for a year as backup and then sell him next summer. Because I think Jesus off the bench can play on the wing, can play up front, not a bad squad player. However, if somebody puts decent money on the table, I actually don't have a problem with selling him at the right price. Now, the question I want to ask you guys is, if Jesus was to go, what's the minimum you would take for him? Let's be realistic as well. They're signing a guy that's been injury prone and not in good form, and he's 27. How much do you expect to get for him? Me personally, I'm saying money back is the minimum. We need the money back. We paid 45. If you give me 45 or more, I can work with that. What we've still got to do, it's what I always say with Arsenal, what we're not very good at. People, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. My internet just reset. I don't know what's going on. Maybe Jorginho's not happy that I want him out, and he's tampered with my internet. Right, let me go back to sharing the screen. Gabriel Jesus, apologies. I said Jesus has spoken. He said you ain't. It's kicked me out again. Right, we're back. Third time lucky. Third time lucky. Let's try this time. I don't know what's going on today. My internet's ramping. Just reset. Right, Gabriel Jesus. Yeah, Arsenal are ready to listen to offers for him. How much would you want for him is my discussion here. I would want 45 million back for him. I still think in a modern day market with the lack of quality strike, man said, Gabby said, cut the stream. I don't know what's going on. My Wi-Fi just locked off, turned off and reset. And then I just tried to come back in. Even then it was playing. We should be back now though, people. I would say 45 million. I would say 45 million for Jesus because I'm looking at it like this. I mean, Zeno said he's not worth 45 million. When you're trying to sell a product, you say, if you're trying to sell your car, you say it's a good runner. It's cheap on petrol. It's good around the corners. The tyres are good. You don't tell them that it's been making a rattling sound for the last 3 weeks and you're skidding around the corners. You don't do that. If it passed its MOT, it's sold as seen. To me, I'm still selling Jesus by saying Brazilian international, 27 years of age, Premier League winner, and I'm looking at PSG, who may need a striker this summer if Mbappe goes. I'm looking at Napoli, who may need a striker, and they were linked with him if Osimhen goes. And I'm saying 45 million. 45 million. New car smell, Caleb. I'm with you. Get some air freshener on him. Sold as seen. Get rid of him. He's got to be worth 45 million in this market, surely. When you look at what players are going for. 33 goals and assists in 66 games. That's how you've got to dress it up. 45 million bloke has 4 goals and 1 knee. Yeah, but you don't tell them that. That's a Premier League winner. Man City, Brazilian international, goes to the World Cup, plays for Brazil. Great celebration. People saying 35 mil max. Maybe I'm wrong then. I was thinking we could get 45 million for him easily. But some people, Brazil's number 9, man. Maybe Saudi. The Saudis have signed quite a few Brazilians. They signed Fabinho for nearly 50 million. And he was 29, 30 years of age. Barcelona, we need you to get scammed. Mate, City do it all the time. These teams, they get rid of players. I think 40 to 45. I'm with Rory. You might take a 5 million loss. You might be able to swap him. That's the other thing. Could you, Napoli have been linked with him. Could you go to Napoli and say, listen, we'll give you 60 million plus Jesus for Osimhen? Only the Saudis would pay his wages. I believe he's on around 250 grand a week as well. That's the other problem. There's only certain clubs in Europe that will pay people that much money. So I'm not sure with that one. Anthony says, sell Jorginho, keep Partey and buy Fofana. I'd be happy with that. El says, keep him and Partey and still sign a new centre mid. We need all the depth we can get. No, did he? Aaron, big up. He's give 2 super stickers. Appreciate that, bro. And Alfred said, Partey is the only one with any value to help spend money this summer. Bring in Zubimendi and Fofana to replace Partey and Jorginho for the locker room. I mean, that's a good point you make there, isn't it? Sometimes the club will sell a better player because that player actually has some value. They're probably looking at Jorginho and going, we can't get no money for him. Who's going to buy him for any decent money? Where Partey, you still might be able to pick up a 20 million for him, but it's sad sometimes because a better player leaves than one that you actually keep. Trixie said, Arsenal want you to hush. Bro, I don't know what was going on there, man. It's madness. Young Gunner said, could we use Jesus in a swap deal with one of the big clubs to get a player at a lower price? Potentially test the waters with Barca to get De Jong. I mean, I would love that deal. I would be a big fan of signing De Jong. Barca, I mean, they got Lewandowski. He's 35, 36. Would they take Jesus? I don't know. It's interesting to see how highly is Gabriel Jesus rated in the market. If we were to sell him now, what level of club would come in for him? I think Jesus is worth 45 million. I do. We paid 65 million for Havertz, who'd been stinking at Chelsea for 3 years. I know Jesus has had an injury problem, and that probably makes it worse. But 45 million for a 27-year-old? I personally think he'll stay. I think he'll be a squad player at Arsenal next year. I don't think clubs will be desperate to sign him. I think he'll be a squad player. Chris said Partey's over 30. Is he over 30? I think he is 30. Thomas Partey is... Yeah, he's 30. Partey's over 30. Has injuries. Only 1 year left on his contract on huge wages. Nobody's paying big money for him. I think with Partey, you just keep him as a squad player, run down his contract. That's what I would do. But listen, I think ultimately now it's interesting because nearly 2 years ago we signed Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko. And I thought I wouldn't say we'd got a bargain, but I thought we'd done some good business there, especially with the Jesus deal. I'm now sitting here nearly 2 years later and I'm saying I'd sell both of them this summer for the right price. I'd actually take a hit on Zinchenko. I'd sell him for less than what we paid for him, to be honest. I think he's that bad as a left-back. The sad thing with Zinchenko, I know a lot of the fan base have turned on him. I still don't understand why he's never played in midfield for Arsenal. And I know effectively he is playing midfield when he's playing at left-back, but when he's in midfield, when the ball breaks down, Zinchenko has to go to left-back and be a left-back. If he was starting in midfield, he wouldn't have to do that. So I am quite intrigued as to why Zinchenko has never started in centre mid for Arsenal. Now, maybe he's not good enough to play there, but I've seen him play there for Ukraine and look good. He played against England and looked really good there. So I'm not sure with that. With Jesus, just for me personally, if somebody comes in with 40-odd million plus in the summer or more, and you can get him out of here and get him off the wage bill, I have no problem with Gabriel Jesus getting sold. However, with Jesus, I'm not totally against keeping him for 1 more year as a squad player, because I think he can impact games off the bench. He can play out wide and give Saka a break. And he's a different player to what we have up front. You know, Havertz is 6'3" and tall. Jesus a bit smaller. However, if Arsenal are going to go and buy a striker in the summer, let's say 70, 80 million, are Arsenal then going to have a £70 million striker? Then you've got Havertz, who's done really well up front, who's on 275 grand a week, and also have Jesus, who's on 250, and you've also got Trossard, who can play up front. That probably doesn't make sense to have that many players. You get rid of Nketiah. You probably get rid of Jesus. You've got Havertz, who's done well up front, and then you sign a gunman of a striker who can rotate with Havertz, and you've got Trossard as a third choice who can play there. So, listen, I'm not against selling Gabriel Jesus. I'm not against it. However, I think he'll be here next year. E-Ross said, Curtis, do you think Partey was an Edu signing or a Mikel Arteta? At the time when we signed Partey, I think it's a no-brainer for both of them. I don't see how one of them would have been against it. He was an absolute machine at Atletico Madrid for 45 million. I think both of them would have signed him. I don't see how one of them would have been saying, "Oh, let's not buy him." I think they would have both wanted him. Young Gunner said, "Which one player would you take from each Premier League club?" I mean, listen, I'm not going to go through the whole Premier League. You know, we'll be here for ages. There's 20 teams, but if we just look at the top teams, from City, I would take Haaland. We need a striker, of course. De Bruyne's a bit old now. From Liverpool, I would probably take... Who would I take from Liverpool, actually? My initial thought was like Van Dijk or Trent, but Van Dijk... I'd still probably take Van Dijk. We wouldn't have him for long. Maybe Trent. But then, with Trent's delivery and that is amazing. Salah's too old now. That's a good one. Maybe Foden or Haaland from City. Oh, McAllister's a good... Alisson. Maybe... No, you know what? You've nailed it. Alisson. Absolutely forgot about him. Alisson all day long. World-class goalkeeper. So I take Alisson, although I do like Trent. I think he's a great player. Alisson, Haaland. I mean, Man United, would you want any of their players? Probably Kobbie Mainoo as a young player. Isak from Newcastle. Yeah. I'm not going to go through them all, but yeah. There's some good ones there that I'd take. Robertson a bit old now, I think. He is still a decent left back. Anyway, let's move on from this. Gabriel Jesus, I think we've all agreed, listen, someone pays the right price. We're willing to let him go. I think personally he'll be here next season for another year. Maddison from Spurs. Maddison was awful the other day. Absolutely awful. He didn't do anything in that game. I think Son's still good. That Van de Ven looks a good defender as well, very quick. Maybe Destiny Udogie left back. We definitely need a left back. Maybe that's who I'd take off them lot, off Nando's. Cole said, I think we won't spend big on a 9 with Obi at Hale. Obi's, listen, he's not ready for first team football. 16 years of age. He's ripping up the youth team. Cole Palmer at Chelsea. Yeah, probably him. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on, people. Let's move on. Another contract at Arsenal. Granite Xhaka said Curtis K. buried Drake. People loving that diss, innit? I'm going to listen to it again, you know. I think the lyrics are more powerful than the actual song. I don't think the song is that amazing, but what he's saying, yeah, he's on smoke. He's on smoke. Emi Martinez from Villa. Yeah, if only we could get him to Arsenal, I'd take him. Oh, we sold him for 20 million. Okay, forget that. Let's not talk about that. Right, Sammy Mockbell said, Arsenal open preliminary talks with key defender Gabriel Magalhães over an improved contract. Early indications are positive, but immediate focus remains on the title race. Still has over 2 years left. No rush to accelerate the talks. This guy, for me, is in the conversation for player of the season. He might win it, he might not. I think Gabriel this season has been superb. We used to talk about Bozo Gene and silly moments. Every now and then he does the odd little stupid thing. He's not perfect, but I think he's fantastic. We signed this guy for £35 million, left-footed. How many good left-footed centre-backs are there in world football now? There's not that many. And you look at Lisandro and how the guy's always injured at Man United. I think this guy's a superb defender. He has improved massively. And I always say, and I've said this story a lot, it's all about partnerships when it comes to defence. It's all about getting a centre-back pairing that can work together. I've said this story quite a few times, but Vincent Kompany was talking about when Man City signed Jerome Boateng, and saying how, you know, this guy, their partnership just didn't work. It didn't work at all. And when they signed Joleon Lescott, they won the title. Now, Lescott is not as good as Jerome Boateng, but he had that chemistry with Vincent Kompany. And I think there's a similar thing here with Gabriel and Saliba. Their partnership is outstanding. It's absolutely outstanding. It's a great partnership. They play really well together, left foot, right foot. And listen, 2.5 years left on his deal. He completely deserves a new contract. Absolutely deserves a new deal at Arsenal. 26 years of age, 4 5-year contract. No problem. Absolutely no problem with it. Completely. I think we're all in agreement with that one. Zach said he's the best left-footed centre-back in the world. Ooh, that's an interesting one. I'm trying to think who is a left-footed centre-back. Obviously, is Alaba left-footed? I think Alaba's left-footed at Real Madrid. Obviously, he was a natural left-back. Lisandro. It's not many other. There's an interesting one, that. Interesting. Do you know what? I can't actually think of many left-footed centre-backs, so it's a difficult one to argue, really. Alaba, is Bastoni left-footed? I'm not sure with that one. Aki, you might be right. Is he left-footed? Yeah, man, big up Rants in the chat. Gabriel is the best fighter. Listen, you give him the new contract anyway. You give him the new contract. Gabriel said he speaks French to Saliba in order to communicate with him together. Yeah, because obviously Gabriel played for Lille for a few years, and you know, he learnt French over there, and those things make a huge difference. You know, you can communicate properly with the guy that you're playing next to. It makes a big, big difference. So, very, very good player. Very happy to see him get a new deal. Totally deserves it. Langley and all them, nah, I don't rate them Donnies. Them guys are shocking. Langley was awful. Then he went on loan to Tottenham, didn't he? And Villa. 1v1 defending, very good. Ranso Curtis collab, why not? Alaba is the only one that's better than Big. Ooh, Nathan Ake is good as well, but I would still go with Gabriel at centre back, man. Ake's played at left back a lot. So yeah, he's definitely deserving of that. Well done to Gabriel Magalhães. Vardio, no, I don't think Vardio's better than him either. Ryan said, tuning in late, not a fan of the new Elite kits. I think Adidas has crushed it. Yeah, the old Nike kits are iconic because of the Invincibles. Look at the teams that have Nike now. I think ultimately, listen, Nike has a stronger street presence than Adidas. That's first of all. I actually think Adidas have made some decent Arsenal kits. I think when people get annoyed is when you're making kits that, you know, the home kit looks like it's just the Ajax kit and you've just changed the badge and put the Arsenal badge on it. You want to see, you know, kits that represent your club properly. You don't want to see copy and paste. So me personally, listen, I would have no problem of going back to Nike. I love Nike. Nike is a representation for me of success at Arsenal, because growing up as a kid, Arsenal were in Nike kits ripping up the place. So, but yeah, I see that Liverpool have just dropped Nike and gone back to Adidas. I think I was told at one time that Nike have a lot more arrogance because they're such a big company. At times they don't offer the money that Adidas will offer because they're like, yo, it's Nike. You want to be with us? We'll give you this much money, where other companies will pay you more money. And we know that money talks at the end of the day. So, yeah, they're going to go to who's got the most money. Look, when we went to Puma. Puma was an absolute disaster class at Arsenal. It was horrendous. All their kits were... I mean, they made the odd nice kit, but Puma was horrible at Arsenal, you know, but they paid big, big money. Man City are wearing Puma now. You know, they don't care if they win the title, but I could not stand Puma at Arsenal. Anyway, let's move on. Couple more stories and then we'll round up, people. That guy Zubimendi being linked again. Yeah, we don't like to discuss Puma. We might have to put that in that case with, you know, Almunia. We don't like to talk about Almunia on this channel, so I have to whisper it. And some of the other things. But them Puma kits, man. The only good thing about the Puma kits was they were... I like the gold one. Remember the gold one when Alexis Sanchez was just ripping up the place in it? That kit was quite nice. I did like the dark blue one, that Alexis Sanchez year as well, with the little bit of yellow down the side. Apart from that, their kits were awful. Absolutely awful. Right, Zubimendi. I'm going to be honest, and I hope I'm not wrong with this one, by the way, right? I hope I'm not wrong. There'll be people in the chat that watch Spanish football more than me. There'll be people that maybe watch the Spanish national team when this guy gets in. I'll be honest, I don't want this guy at Arsenal. I don't want him. I've watched him enough. I could be wrong. 5, 6 live games. I think you watch somebody play 5 or 6 times for a full 90. You figure out enough of what they're about. Is this guy technically gifted on the ball? No doubt about it. For me, he's lightweight. For me, he'll get brushed up in the Premier League. And listen, there are players that come over here that play like him that succeed in the Premier League, Somebody said David Silva. Now, he plays obviously as a deep-line playmaker, so there would be a bigger comparison to the likes of, Cazorla and Fabregas. However, those two, for me, were absolute geniuses on the ball, right? Fabregas was an absolute genius from the age of 16. The man was in the first team. Santi Cazorla, one of the best technically gifted midfielders you'll ever see in the Premier League. He was taking corners with both feet in the Prem. It's a joke. This guy, for me, against PSG, their midfield ran all over him. He couldn't handle the pace and the physicality of that PSG midfield. And I'm not convinced by him. And to be honest, I wouldn't want to sign him. No, David Silva, listen, is an absolute genius. That's different. He was a number 10. But I'm not convinced by this guy. 52 million release clause. According to reports, still Mikel Arteta's top midfield target for this summer. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. This guy could come to Arsenal and be a world beater. But from what I've seen of him, no. Not for £53 million, my friend. I'm telling you now, I would rather take Bruno Guimaraes. I'd rather take Fofana. I would even rather take Douglas Luiz. I'm telling you now. I want a midfield that is powerful, that can also play football. I don't want there to be a player that people feel like they can pick him off. And I think this guy's lightweight. I think Salman just said it there. We've seen Spanish players come to this country and be very successful in midfield, right? Your David Silvas, your Fabregas, your Cazorlas. And Herrera did all right at Man United. But on the flip side, some of those players are not built for the Premier League. They're just not, right? The Prem is physical. It's different. Rodri as well, of course, been outstanding in the Prem. This guy, for me, I don't want him at Arsenal. I really don't. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, and I have said this a lot. If Arteta wants him, buy him. Because I do believe that you have to give the manager the players that he wants. And I know it's a bit of a contradiction, me saying that and then saying not get this guy. But I'm just not convinced by him. I'm not convinced. What we can't afford to do is have another more expensive Fabio Vieira on our hands. Because at this moment in time, if I said to you, explain the Fabio Vieira situation to me, you would struggle to explain it because I'm still confused about Fabio Vieira. You scouted him, you paid £35 million for him, and the guy hardly kicks a ball for Arsenal. He hardly ever comes off the bench. And I'm sitting here after 2 seasons going, well, what was the point in signing Fabio Vieira? If he was that talented, why has he not played more? He's played 11 times this season. Nearly all of them off the bench. 22 times last season. Nearly all of them off the bench. I don't think he's started 10 games in 2 seasons in the Prem. 2 goals and 4 assists. It's one of the most pointless signings I've ever seen. 5'7". I mean, I think there's a stage you've got to get to Fabio Vieira and say, just sell him. I mean, it felt like a tax write-off, You're self-employed. You get to the start of April. You need to balance the books, so you spend a load of money on something. Like, I don't even understand that signing of Fabio Vieira. So, yeah, for me, Zubimendi is a risky one. Edu signing, not Arteta. Now, the thing is, Rambo, it's difficult to say that, even though I kind of get you, because Fabio is a George Mendes client and Edu works with George Mendes. But surely Mikel Arteta has some say in players that are bought. He says that every signing he has to sign off as well. We can't say, well done Arteta for signing Odegaard and then say every bad signing is not his signing. It did seem a strange one, though. I do give you that. It did look a strange deal. White Glove said, check out Mikel Moreno at Sociedad, similar to Rice. Now, Mikel Moreno was at Newcastle, and I was always quite impressed with him. I think he got homesick and wanted to go back to Spain quite quickly. I actually think he's a very good midfielder, but he got homesick. Maybe he just didn't enjoy the Newcastle lifestyle. They get a lot of rain up there as well. Puma is who made the black and red kit. Yeah, I remember that one. I never actually bought that kit. I remember the tracksuit was nice. Saad said, what's your worst signing for Arsenal of all time? Bro, honestly, it would take me about 45 minutes. Like, there isn't a standout one that is above everyone. I could name a whole team of worst signings. I mean, how long have you got? Cole Jenkinson, I mean, did he win in a raffle to sign for Arsenal? One of the worst right-backs I've ever seen. Andre Santos, you know, we signed the one Brazilian that has no flair whatsoever. You know, we could be here all day. Shamak, you know, I could name a whole squad of 18, bro. Skodran Mustafi, 35 million. How long have you got, mate? We'd be here for 2 hours talking about them. There's so many bad ones. I think I'll do a stream about that. Arsenal's worst 11. David said, go all black, add yellow highlight, 7-8 on the neckline, keep Partey, drop Jorginho, can't take another season, with James B saying his name. James loves him. I think it's Italian tax. He's half Italian. But, yeah, big up David. It's not an exact science. Santi was short. Cal, for me, to play centre mid in the Prem and be successful and be short, you've got to either be really good on the ball or really good at winning the ball back, in my opinion. So you've got your N'Golo Kantes, he will hunt down anything that moves. And then you've got your Cazorlas, your Fabregas guys who give me the ball out. You know, I could turn out of a phone box and get out of there with the ball. If you're not elite at one of those two things, I think you're going to struggle in the Prem. Torreira came to the Prem first year. Oh, he's brilliant. By the second year, he was done. He was finished. I see man like Pogba just flicking him away like, you know, like an ant. Just get out of it. You know what I mean? So you've got to be one or the other. But as I said, I don't want to completely write him off, because if he does sign for Arsenal, you know, I've got to kind of backtrack a little bit. Big up Sard with that super sticker. Cole said Arsenal should make their own kits like Barcelona. So Barcelona this year will not have a kit supplier like Nike or whatever. They're going to make their own kits with the sponsor on the front, but no actual kit supplier, in a way to make more money. Obviously, there's a 50-50 side of that. On one hand, is the kit less attractive to people to buy with no Nike sponsorship on it, or Adidas or whatever? But on the second hand, you know, they're going to make a lot more money from the sales of the kit. Kim Kallstrom signed an injured player. Listen, I've got respect for Kim Kallstrom. He scored in the penalty shootout, you know, with a broken back. Zubimendi is 5'11". Yeah, it's not so much, I don't know. When I just watched him, Beckley, he looked lightweight. But listen, if he signs for us, we'll support him and hope he's a top player for us. So, yeah. Anyway, people, that's where we're at for the day. Apologies for the problems I had midstream with the internet, but it seemed to have sorted itself out. I'll be back at 4 o'clock, member stream. Get yourself involved. And I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. What is it? Thursday. Press conference reaction will be on Friday, I think. Oh, in fact, it might be tomorrow, because I'm thinking we're playing Saturday at 12:30. So it may be tomorrow, but we'll get into that. Big up for everyone tuned in. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching on playback, let me know in the comments what you think. Jorginho's contract and G.Jesus being sold. Take care and see you all soon, people. Bless.